Have you ever used a website or app where the buttons were just too small, making it nearly impossible to click on them accurately? Or perhaps you've encountered buttons that were placed so far apart that you had to stretch your fingers uncomfortably just to reach them? Or maybe the interface was so cluttered that you couldn't even find the button you needed. Frustrating, right? These are common issues that many users face daily. It turns out there's a scientific reason those buttons were so annoying. It's not just bad luck or poor design, there's actually a principle behind it. It's called Fitt's Law, and it's a fundamental principle of good user experience design. Fitt's Law helps us understand how users interact with interfaces and how we can make those interactions smoother and more intuitive. In simple terms, Fitt's Law says that the time it takes to move to a target, like a button, depends on how big the target is and how far away it is. The larger and closer the target, the quicker and easier it is to click. Bigger and closer equals faster and easier. This means that when buttons are large and within easy reach, users can interact with them more efficiently. Conversely, smaller and farther away means more effort and more chances for mistakes. Users are more likely to miss the target or take longer to complete their tasks. As UX designers, our job is to make things easy for users. We aim to create interfaces that are not only functional but also enjoyable to use. We want them to be able to find what they need and do what they want without having to think too hard. A well-designed interface should feel almost invisible, allowing users to focus on their tasks rather than the tools they're using. And that's where Fitt's Law comes in. By applying this principle, we can design interfaces that are intuitive and efficient, reducing the cognitive load on users. By understanding Fitt's Law, we can design interfaces that are intuitive and efficient. This means placing buttons and other interactive elements where they are easy to reach and making them large enough to click without difficulty. We can make buttons and other interactive elements easy to find and click, which leads to happier users and a better overall experience. Ultimately, a well-designed interface can make the difference between a frustrated user and a satisfied one. Fitt's Law, named after psychologist Paul Fitt, yes, the law is spelled differently, is a model that predicts the time it takes to reach a target area. This law is fundamental in the field of human-computer interaction and ergonomics. It's based on a simple formula that takes into account the distance to the target and the size of the target. Essentially, the further away and smaller the target, the longer it will take to reach it. Don't worry, we won't bore you with the actual math, but it's fascinating to see how this principle is applied in everyday technology. The important thing to remember is this: the easier it is to physically interact with an element on a screen, the faster and more accurately users will be able to do it. This is why designers focus so much on making buttons and interactive elements large and easy to tap. Think about it like this. If you're trying to hit a large target that's close to you, it's going to be pretty easy. This is why you often see large buttons for important actions in apps and websites. But if the target is small and far away, it's going to be much harder to hit. This can lead to frustration and errors, which is why good design minimizes these kinds of interactions. The same principle applies to interacting with elements on a screen. By understanding and applying Fitt's Law, designers can create more intuitive and user-friendly interfaces that enhance the overall user experience. Let's break down the two key factors that influence Fitt's Law: size and distance. As we mentioned earlier, bigger is better when it comes to target size. The larger an interactive element is, the easier it is for users to see and click on it. Distance also plays a crucial role. The closer an element is to the user's cursor or finger, depending on whether they're using a mouse or a touchscreen, the less distance they have to travel to reach it. This means less time and effort, and a smoother overall experience. Here's a real-world analogy. Imagine you're playing darts. A larger dartboard that's closer to you is going to be much easier to hit than a small dartboard that's far away. The same principle applies to designing user interfaces. You might be surprised to learn that Fitt's Law is all around us, not just in the digital world. This principle, which predicts the time required to move to a target area, is deeply embedded in the design of many everyday objects we interact with. Think about everyday objects that are designed for ease of use. These items are crafted with the user's experience in mind, ensuring that they are intuitive and efficient to use. Take door handles, for example. The size and shape of a door handle are not arbitrary. They are designed to be easily grasped and turned. They're typically large and easy to grip, making them simple to open even if you're carrying something heavy. This design consideration ensures that the action of opening a door is quick and requires minimal effort. Light switches are another great example. Their placement and design are carefully thought out to maximize convenience. They're usually positioned at a convenient height and have a large enough surface area to make them easy to find and flip. This ensures that even in the dark you can easily locate and use them without much effort. Even something as simple as a coffee mug is designed with Fitt's law in mind. The handle is not just a random addition, it is a crucial element that enhances usability. The handle is positioned and shaped in a way that makes it comfortable and easy to hold. This allows you to enjoy your drink without worrying about the mug slipping from your hand. These examples demonstrate that Fitt's law isn't just some abstract concept. It's a practical guideline that influences the design of many objects we use daily. It's a fundamental principle of design that's been applied to physical objects for centuries. From ancient tools to modern gadgets, the essence of Fitt's law remains relevant, and as we'll see in the next section, it's just as important in the digital world. The principles that make physical objects user-friendly are equally crucial in designing intuitive digital interfaces. Section 5. Websites where Fitt's law really shines. In the realm of web design, Fitt's law is paramount. Think about the primary actions you want users to take on your website. Are those buttons large enough and clearly visible? Are they positioned in a way that makes them easy to find and click? Consider the placement of your navigation menu. Is it easily accessible or do users have to hunt for it? What about your search bar? Is it prominently displayed so users can quickly find what they're looking for? By applying Fitt's law to your website's design, you can make it more intuitive and user-friendly. This can lead to increased conversions, lower bounce rates, and a more positive overall experience for your visitors. Section 6. Mobile apps, tiny screens, big impact. Fitt's law is arguably even more crucial when it comes to mobile app design. With smaller screen sizes and touch-based interactions, it's essential to make sure interactive elements are large enough and spaced appropriately. Imagine trying to tap on a tiny button on your phone's screen while you're walking. It's not easy, is it? That's why it's vital to design mobile interfaces with larger touch targets and ample spacing between elements. Consider using gestures like swiping and pinching, which can be more intuitive and efficient than tapping on small buttons. And don't forget about accessibility. Make sure your app's text is large enough to read comfortably on a small screen. Section 7. Beyond buttons, Fitt's law for everything. While Fitt's law is often discussed in the context of buttons and other clickable elements, its principles can be applied to virtually any aspect of UX design. Think about drop-down menus, sliders, checkboxes, and any other interactive element on your website or app. Are your drop-down menus wide enough to accommodate all the options without being too cramped? Are your sliders easy to grab and drag? Are your checkboxes large enough to tap or click on accurately? By applying Fitt's law to all aspects of your design, you can create a more seamless and enjoyable experience for your users. Section 8. Mistakes to avoid, don't make me think. Now that you understand the importance of Fitt's law, let's talk about some common mistakes to avoid. Tiny buttons. Make sure your buttons are large enough to be easily tapped or clicked on, especially on mobile devices. Cramped spacing. Give your interactive elements enough breathing room to avoid accidental clicks or taps. Hidden navigation. Your navigation menu should be easily accessible and visible at all times. Cluttered interfaces. Avoid overwhelming users with too much information or too many choices. Remember, the goal is to make your website or app as easy to use as possible. Don't make your users think too hard about where to click or what to do next. Section 9. Conclusion: click with confidence. Fitt's law is a fundamental principle of UX design that can make or break your website or app's usability. By understanding how size, distance, and other factors influence user interaction, you can create interfaces that are intuitive, efficient, and enjoyable to use. Remember to keep your interactive elements large enough, space them appropriately, and make sure they're easy to find and reach. By applying Fitt's law to all aspects of your design, you can create a seamless and satisfying experience for your users, leading to increased engagement, conversions, and overall success. So go forth and design with confidence, knowing that you're armed with the knowledge to make your interfaces a joy to use.